What is up? Welcome back to the Chocolate Broadcast. DC just dropped some massive news from Entertainment Weekly about Lanterns, diving into things that people were worried about and stuff like that. We also got two new pictures of Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as John Stewart. So let's break it all down. So according to the report from Entertainment Weekly, the HBO series follows veteran Lantern Hal Jordan and rookie Lantern John Stewart as they investigate a mysterious shooting in a small Nebraska town called Rushville. And Hal believes that the incident may actually be connected to something alien, and that setup alone already sounds very different from what people usually expect from Green Lantern. Most people hear Green Lantern and immediately think the giant space battles, crazy CGI, aliens everywhere, and I think that the reason why we haven't been seeing all that stuff from the trailers, and they're definitely going a different route, is probably because of the effects of the film. And we actually got to hear from Chris Mundy himself, the showrunner. He said he wanted the show to feel like an upscale mystery and a very emotionally grounded story while still embracing everything fans love about Green Lantern mythology. So before people panic, yes, the rings are still going to be used. He said there will be constructs, there will be power creations, and there will be off-world moments, and there will be classic Green Lantern abilities. Mundy even described the rings as, quote, the power of creativity, end quote, saying that lanterns can basically create whatever their mind believes can solve the problem in front of them, which is pretty cool to hear. At least they're going comic accurate, and I think it's one of the coolest parts of Green Lantern lore. And I think this grounded approach is pretty smart, actually, especially considering the effects of that previous film with Ryan Reynolds, because Green Lantern's always been kind of one of the hardest DC properties to adapt. If you go too cosmic too fast, casual audiences disconnect immediately, especially seeing that people are now mad at everything now. I think that there was always going to be problems with this anyways, but I do think that so far with this interview that we're hearing, it seems like they at least know what they're doing. Now, we also learned that the show apparently takes place across two different timelines. One storyline happens in 2016, while the other takes place 10 years later in current day in 2026. And over the course of the season, both mysteries slowly are starting to connect together, and that instantly kind of gave me that True Detective Season 1 vibe for sure. But what really caught my attention was that Hal Jordan and John Stewart dynamic, especially from the photos. You actually do get to see some green in there, because this show is heavily leaning into mentorship. Hal Jordan was, trained by Sinestro before Sinestro became the iconic villain we all know from the comics, and now Hal is being forced to train his replacement, John Stewart. So the showrunner literally described it as, the old guard and the heir apparent. That is such a good angle for this story, I feel like, especially because Hal apparently sees John as an anomaly in Green Lantern lore. The rings usually choose their lanterns, but in John's case, it seems like the Guardians themselves personally intervened and selected him directly. So there's already kind of going to be some tension between them there from the beginning. And yes, apparently it's still confirmed that Nathan Fillion's guy Gardner from Superman is officially confirmed to appear multiple times throughout the season. And so we'll see how that goes, which tells me that this, show is absolutely connected to the wider DCU while still being its own thing tonally. And then also my answer to the question why in that one scene in the trailer where Hal says that he's the only human, maybe this is because at the point in time, maybe this is 2016 or something like that, maybe Guy Gardner's not a Green Lantern yet. And Chris Mundy directly addressed the criticisms with the show so far. He absolutely said that, quote unquote, this is absolutely a Green Lantern show, end quote. He explained that they're shooting practically in real locations instead of relying heavily on green screen because they want the world to feel real and tangible. But he also promised that fans, that when the constructs and powers do appear, they're going to actually look like how fans want them to look. And honestly, after reading all this, I don't know why you would lie. I just really feel like they've just been trying to tease. I really just think that they don't want to show everything. Maybe all the VFX isn't finished. I don't know. But I think getting a grounded HBO detective thriller with cosmic horror elements, Green Lantern mythology, multiple timelines, maybe some Sinestro connections, and a mentor dynamic between Hal and John, I think it sounds pretty incredible. And if they pull this off, I think this could easily become one of the best DCU projects, especially with us having Clayface later on this year that looks really, really good. So with that, here's the new photos. They look really good, and that is pretty much all they had to say, except for, its release date, of course, which we already know. But comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Does this change your mind? I know there's been, like I said, a whole lot of hate online from this show, not necessarily about the show being good or not, but just about the green stuff. Does this change your mind? Are you excited to know that there are going to be constructs and stuff and that they've just been mysteriously hiding it? Does it also make you excited there's two different timelines? What do you think they're going to do with that? What do you think the plot is going to be? Because I'm not telling you everything. And with that, like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.